Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As corny as that might sound, is true. There are people who are connecting from all over the world. So thank you so much for joining us for this session about the Master in Management program at ESCP Business School. My name is Jeanne Weckler. I am in charge of marketing for the Master in Management. I'm located on our Paris campus, and joining me today, Student Ambassador Jory Sutton. Jory, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Jory. I just finished my second year at ESCP. I am a girl from a small town Texas girl, so one of the only Americans in the program, but it's been a really fun experience.
And where, Jory, have you been so far? Where did you start with us in the program, and what have you done so far?
So I spent my first semester in Turin, Italy, on the Turin campus, and then I went to Madrid. In Madrid, I did the Spanish track there. I took a gap year where I worked in Spain. I had an internship in Valencia, and then the second half of the year, I was traveling a bit before COVID, and I was somehow able to finally get back to France in August, and I've been in Paris since then.
Great. Okay, well, Jory and I are going to be telling you about the program today. Jory, of course, is here to give the local color from the student experience. You will be able to ask your questions as we go. Whenever a question comes to mind, just go ahead and pop it in the question box. Not the chat box. You may see a chat box, but we don't pay attention to that one as much. So please put your questions into the question box. And Jory will actually be answering those questions as we go on in the session. So you'll get immediate answers to some of those questions. And Jory, by the way, if this is kind of self-evident, but if you're in any doubt as to the correct answer, don't worry about it, because I will come at the end and we'll go through them together. So
okay, perfect.
We talked about when Jory started 2 years ago, the program was
2018.
Yeah. 2 or 3 years ago. The program was a little bit different than it is today. We did a redesign of the program, so there's some of the rules that have changed. So, but anyway, Jory, don't worry about that. Just go ahead and skip questions that you're not sure about. You already see some questions in there for you. So, okay. Last but not least, I will be sending you a recording of the session as of tomorrow. So no worries on that front. So with no further ado, let me tell you about the Master in Management. There are two very important things to know about us if you don't know them already, and that is that ESCP Business School is actually the world's first business school, because we were established in 1819. That makes us over 200 years old. We had lots of celebrations 2 years ago to mark that very noteworthy occasion. The other most important thing that you need to know about us is that we have 6 different campuses located across Europe, which makes us the leading European business school. We're located in Berlin, London, Madrid, Paris, Turin, and Warsaw. These are our own ESCP campuses, which allows us to provide you a seamless education across all of our campuses. Excuse me. Because of the fact that we're located in so many different countries and so many different cities, we really focus on a cross-cultural business education. And that's also because we attract students from so many different places in the world. We offer you a global perspective on management issues and have a very strong connection with the business world, perhaps even more than some business schools that you may be aware of, because we are actually located in the cities of our campuses. So we're very close to the headquarters of those companies that you will be visiting, that you'll be interviewing with, that will be coming to our campuses to make presentations about the opportunities that they have and about their business in general. We have 160 research active full faculty members, 800 affiliate and visiting professors. So those are typically working professionals who also come and teach in the classroom and share their experience. Very important for you, should you join us, and in any case, for any business school that you decide to join, 65,000 alumni we have who work on every continent in the world. Really important for networking in terms of finding, again, internships, jobs. Also, once you are a working professional, they could be your future clients, they could be your future suppliers. In any case, great contacts for you to have. And it's certainly interesting that we have them on all continents and in all different business sectors. And finally, about ESCP Business School, we have 7,100 students that are currently enrolled. This is across all 6 campuses, and they represent 118 different nationalities. We like to say that we have a history of excellence as well. That is largely due to the rankings and the accreditations that we have. We have the AACSB, which is the American accreditation, and EQUIS, which is the European one. These are stamps of excellence. If you're not familiar with them, they're auditing boards that come in and check all of our processes, make sure that we are establishing the learning objectives and that we're delivering on those learning objectives, and maintaining a high quality standard of the education that we are providing. In the rankings, we do very well. In the Financial Times, which is for us the international benchmark ranking, we are number 2 currently for our Master in Finance program and number 6 for our Master in Management program. In The Economist, which also recently started ranking Masters in Management programs, we're number 4 currently.
Hey,
So,
Jeanne, real quick question.
Yeah.
I answered a question, but I'm not sure if it actually sent to anyone. Is there a way to check?
It should work. Let's see, you just answered Alexia Marion, right?
Yes.
Alexia, do us a favor. You should have received an email, I believe, in your...
She said yes, thank you.
Okay. We're good.
Okay, perfect. Just double checking.
Yeah. Okay, so the Master in Management in a nutshell, what is it? It is for students who have a previous degree in any discipline. You don't have to have any previous work experience, but you do need to be internationally minded and academically excellent. Jory, remind me, what was your previous degree?
I studied human resources and international business in the US.
Okay. And did you have any previous work experience before you joined us?
I had a few internships, but that was it, not really.
Okay, but that's actually more than a lot of people have, depending on when they join us in the program. On average, it's 1.5 years of people who join us in the Master 1 year, but some people don't have any experience at all. But of course, you were internationally minded and academically excellent, so that's why you got in, right? So what is the Master in Management? It is a general management program with 2 specializations minimum. We offer 58 specializations and 140 different electives to choose from. It consists of either 2 or 3 years of study in up to 5 different countries. It provides internships in various fields to help you build your career path. You will graduate with a minimum of a 9 months total of business experience. This is built into the curriculum, so it's really an integral part of it. You can actually obtain up to 5 degrees without leaving the ESCP campuses, and you'll be building your cultural intelligence with 1,000 students from around the world. So I've given you a little bit of an introduction to the Master in Management. Now I'd like to know a little bit about you. I'm going to launch a poll here to find out which region of the world you're from. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so if you would like to play the game with me, please, yes, and fill in the blanks of where you are coming from in the world, just to see who we have out there in our audience. Great, thanks so much. I see lots of votes coming in. Almost to 90%. Okay, great. I'll share this with you now. I'll give you 2 more seconds to answer if you haven't already, and then I'll close the poll. Okay, it wasn't a tough question, so we have 95% voted. I guess my 2 more seconds actually got you guys to, those last few, to participate. Okay, closing the poll. And now, which region are you from? You can see it very well, but I cannot. Oh no, I can see it. So we have 8% of our participants today are from Africa, 33% from Asia, 56% from Europe, 3% from North America, and nobody from South America with us today. Those are very interesting statistics. They're similar to our actual class population. As you can see, we have quite a diverse group of students in the MIM. 78% of our students come from European countries, which makes sense because we are located in 6 different countries in Europe. And 22% of our students are coming from the rest of the world, Asia being a large contingent, of course. Asia is 9%, and with us today, you guys are more numerous. You're 33% of students from Asia today. 7% of students come from Africa in our program, and there are 8% of Africans in our session today, so pretty spot on. And then we have 47% of our students are coming from France, 20% from Italy, and 7% from Germany. North America, we have 3% attending today, and that's actually more than we currently are seeing and participate in our program. So what happens to all those students when they graduate? The good news is, and this is good news, yeah, good news is that 99% of them find a job within 3 months of graduation. So basically, if you join us at the ESCP Master in Management, you're going to find a job when you graduate. That's good news. And these statistics are holding steady even with the current situation, the pandemic and the economic situation around the world. 67% of our students are actually employed before graduation, and this is largely due to the fact that the internships are built into the curriculum. So their final internship is often like a pre-employment, a pre-full employment test run, if you will. And 42% of our students work outside of their home country for their first job, which is really proof that our international approach to studies is working. Current starting salary is just under 55,000 euros per year. As far as the industry sectors and the job functions that our students are working in, because it is a general management program with specializations, there are so many possibilities open to you. So we do have, of course, some sectors and functions that stand out from the others, but you can see that even with the statistics that I'm showing here, it's very far from adding up to 100%. But in any case, in terms of the sectors, the top 3 are consulting, finance, and tech. And in terms of functions, we have lots of consultants, makes sense because they're working for consulting firms, but also in corporations that have their own in-house consultants. 16% in finance, and hold on, sorry. Yeah, 16% in finance and 9% in marketing. There's also, there's 6% of our students are actually working as in the C-suite, if you will. If you're not familiar with that term, it stands for CEO, CFO, CMO, so that's Chief executive officer, chief financial officer, chief marketing officer, etc. So those students are obviously those who are starting their own company. So approximately 6% of our students are entrepreneurs and are starting their own company. So who are they working for? Here is a list or a slide showing you a lot of our top employers. Well, they are our top employers. I've gone to the top 20 employers in this particular presentation. So of course it's not a complete list of all the companies that are employing our students, but as you can see, there are many well-known international brands that are consulting firms, that are banks for representing the finance sector, that are luxury goods like Chanel, and yeah, Chanel is the only one on this slide is luxury goods. Lots of tech companies with Amazon and Apple and Google. There's another tech company on here which you may not have heard of, which you probably haven't heard of. It's called Rocket Internet. That one is on here actually because it's an ESCP startup. It was started 8 years ago in Berlin, and they've gotten to a good size where they're hiring a lot of our students. So they're one of our top 20 employers. So I'd like to ask you to help me out again in answering another poll, and this one is, where are you in your master studies search? So you have several choices here, as you would imagine. You haven't decided on the topic. You have decided on it. You've submitted an application to a business school, and you've submitted an application to us. This is, you may choose more than one answer if you would like. Great, thank you so much. I can see lots of people participating again. Okay, we have 80% who voted. I'll give you a little bit more time to answer this question. Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to close it now. 92% have voted. So the winner is 53% of you have decided to study business or management. So you're in the right place if you're learning about a business or management course. 43 have started an application to a business school, and 21% of you have, oh, I'm not sharing, sorry. There is the result. So 43 have started an application to ESCP, thank you very much, or submitted it. Fingers crossed that you are accepted. 21% have submitted an application to a business school, and 4% of you are somewhere in between. So great, thank you so much for sharing this information. It's good for me to know and for Joy to know where you are in your search. That'll help us direct our comments and our comments more towards what you're looking for. Okay, I have to close this now. There we go. So as far as the Master in Management program is concerned, it is full of choices. That's why our slogan is a world of choices. And the first choice that you will make is whether you would like to study 2 or 3 years. It is a master program, so the master part of the program is 2 years minimum, master year 1, master year 2. But there are a lot of students who choose to take an optional pre-master year. Typically, those are students who have not done studied business or management in their bachelor degree. To be eligible for the 2-year program, the 3-year program, or by starting in the pre-master year, you only have to have completed 2 years of university studies. So you don't even have to have a bachelor's degree in order to join the pre-master year. But most students join us in the master year 1. And those are students who have done previous studies, who have taken a bachelor's degree and received a bachelor's degree already. About 65% of those students have previous business studies, like Jory has some previous business stories, but 35% of them don't. We have a lot of engineers, we have a lot of people coming from the physical sciences, from social sciences. So you don't necessarily have to have business studies to join in the first master year. So it's really up to you as to which you prefer. Some of the other choices you're going to make is where you want to study and in which language you want to study. So as I said previously, we have 6 campuses. You can study on all of our campuses in English. That's not a problem. But if you would like to, you can also study in French, Spanish, German, French, Spanish, or German. I stopped there. That's enough, I think. And you may study at a maximum of 5 different campuses or 5 different locations. If you start in the pre-master year, and as many as 4 different locations if you start in the master year. Jory, when she introduced herself, explained to us that she has studied in 3 different locations. And Jory, if you wouldn't mind telling us, why did you start with Turin as your first campus?
So for ESCP, you have to be fluent in 3 languages when you graduate. My 2 other, I had English, of course, and then I had studied Spanish in university and a little bit of French. And so I was kind of between, I mean, there was Turin, there was London, and there was Berlin. I already knew I wanted to spend my 2nd year in Paris because I wanted to make connections to, it's the best one for the specializations and if you want to find a job after. I already knew I was going to go to Madrid and I really wanted to take a gap year there. And so Turin kind of stuck out to me, one, because of the languages. So I thought, okay, it's a Romance language. It will be easier for me to pick up. And honestly, the weather, because I do not like the cold, which Turin, it does get a bit cold, but London to me, it's just rainy, cold all the time. I'm also a native English speaker, so I didn't feel that I would be getting a lot of value out of it. And kind of the same thing with Berlin. Not many people choose Turin, but I actually really loved it because it was very small. I made friends for life there. My friends in Paris that I hang out with, I met on the Turin campus. So it's more of a family than some of the other campuses. So I really enjoyed it.
And then you went to Madrid, right? And why did you choose Madrid after?
I had already lived in Spain a little bit before, and I am fluent in Spanish. I wanted to keep improving, and we had to do 2 internships in 2 different countries. So I figured the first internship would be in Spain, especially since I already spoke Spanish. So I went to Madrid and decided to do my classes in Spanish there. And then also because of visa reasons, I had to study in Madrid if I wanted working rights to do an internship there. So that was a big factor.
Okay. You just said 2 things actually that are no longer true.
Yeah.
That is, you don't have to be fluent in 3 languages anymore. We want you to be fluent in 2 and proficient in a 3rd. So that is no longer a requirement, fluency in 3 languages. But if you get there, Jory, that's all the more power to you, and it's good for you. We also no longer have the requirement of having to take internships in 2 different countries. We highly encourage it, but it's no longer a requirement.
It's a little hard with COVID right now.
Yeah.
But I have to say Madrid is an amazing campus as well. It's one of the best. It's one of the best cities to live in. So Madrid is in my heart.
Okay.
Just saying, if you guys are between two, Madrid's very nice.
If any of you out there would like to learn more about Jory's choice of Turin and why she went there, go ahead and read her blog post, which is on the ESCP Master in Management student blog. It's escpmim.blog. So yes, you have a choice of several different campuses to study upon. I think we've made that point already. What's important to know is that you need to study in at least 2 different locations, and you cannot study more than 2 semesters on 1 different campus. So for example, Jory could not have stayed in Turin for 3 semesters and then gone on to Madrid. What you can do if you'd like, and actually the student who helped me out with last webinar actually has done this, is changed campuses every semester. It is possible. But you also can choose to study at a partner university, which is then taking that even farther afield, your studies even farther afield. Okay, it doesn't lead us. I thought it was like going into something, but I wasn't. So one of the highlights of the Master in Management learning experience is the Designing Europe Learning Expedition. It is a 2-day seminar that takes place at the European Parliament in Brussels, where you're actually in the hemicycle where the European parliamentarians negotiate and vote on different laws. So Jory, would you like to tell us a little bit about your experience there at Designing Europe?
Yeah, I mean, it was very cool. I was at Turin campus at the time, so it was very weird getting on a plane with all of my classmates and just going to Brussels. Really cool because you stay in the same hotel and you meet all these people from all of the campuses. That was really cool, and I actually made some friends there that I later met in Madrid later, so that was very cool. For me as a non-EU person, it was extremely interesting seeing how I didn't know anything about EU Parliament before going, and it was very interesting seeing how a different government works. Really cool sitting in the huge room where all the magic happens. There was a lot of role play, and you felt like you were actually making decisions that would be impacting the future of the European Union. And what was so cool to me is the last day we all sat in the main room where they make all the decisions, and we actually had some translators that were there, and we had a French and Italian translator, I think, and they were also speaking English, and so you could go and listen to the guest speakers in whichever language you wanted. Each channel, like this one was in French, this one was in English, this was in Italian, and normally they have about 14 languages, something like that. But that was one of the coolest experiences for me.
Great. Okay, my last survey for you today is I would like to know if you are interested in earning a dual degree. And I'm launching that as we speak. So yes, as long as my study workload is manageable. Maybe, but I'm not sure what a dual degree entails, or no, I'm not interested. It's not really going to do anything for me. Okay. The yes is leading for now with 75% of the votes in. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes more to answer. Only 3 choices, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And guess what? I'm going to start talking about dual degrees, so you're going to learn more about them next if you don't know what they are. Okay, great. 2 more seconds, and then I'm going to close the poll. Okay, done. So 68% of you are interested in that, as long as the workload is manageable. Fair enough. 26, maybe you're not sure what is involved. Fair enough as well. And 6% are not interested. Okay. What's really cool, to use Joy's word and mine as well, at ESCP is you can actually get a second degree, a dual degree, without even really doing much. All you have to do is tell us that you want to do it. Just by studying at our different campuses, you can receive these different degrees. So in the UK, you can receive the European MSc that's delivered by the City, University of London. In Spain, you receive the Master, I can't say, I don't speak Spanish, Dirección de Empresas or something like that from Carlos III University. In Germany, you receive the German MSc, which is actually delivered by ESCP. In Poland is an MSc delivered by Kosminski. And in Italy, it's a Laurea Magistrale. So everyone who comes to ESCP Master in Management receives the Master in Management Grande École degree that's recognized in France. Well, it's recognized as a master's degree around the world, but it's delivered by the Ministry of Education in France. If you, during your studies, decide to study in London, you can get the UK degree. Same thing with all of the other campuses. So you can, in your 4 different semesters in ESCP, you can receive 4 different degrees. You also have the opportunity to take a dual degree from partner universities. And that is study at a partner school. So you have 2 possibilities for study at a partner school, and that is an exchange program for 1 semester. We have 120 exchange partners, I believe, or a dual degree program for 2 semesters. The dual degree program, which is, this is even in addition to the degree programs that we offer at ESCP, those are offered in management, of course. So we have dual degree agreements with universities in their Masters in Management program, but also with universities who are offering an MBA. So you can get an MBA as well as a Masters in Management. But we also have dual degrees, and this is quite unique, in different subjects, such as engineering, such as fashion and luxury, such as hospitality, and in art management. So you really can graduate from ESCP with a dual expertise in getting a dual degree from one of these opportunities. So it's actually, I'm misusing the terms, it's either, hold on. No, they're all dual degrees. There's a dual degree with a partner university and dual degree from the ESCP campuses. They're 2 different things, but you can indeed take advantage of them. And you can graduate, bottom line is you can graduate with as many as 5 different degrees if you start in the pre-master year. This is useful because it looks good on your CV. But also, depending on where you want to work afterwards, it may be important for you to have a degree that is recognized by the local Ministry of Education. So, for example, I know this is true in Italy, as well as Germany. They want to see degrees that are recognized by the local and delivered by the local Ministry of Education. But in any case, when you have more than 1 degree on your CV, it also is, shows your multicultural. And that you're multicultural and that you're adaptable, that you can study in different places and speak different languages. Also wanted to talk about the specializations, which are an important part of your program at ESCP Business School. We have, as mentioned, 58 different specializations on offer in the program. So if you want it, it's here. It's kind of crazy that we have so many, but you will have to choose up to 2 different specializations. You can go with 3. You start with your specializations as of your second semester of your first year. And you continue on into your second year with a minimum of one specialization. And again, you can do a second. Specializations, a second in the second year. Specializations last a semester, and they're offered on all of our different campuses. So here I'm showing just a few examples of specializations that we offer, of course. And the examples that I'm showing here are those that are pertaining to expertise of that particular campus in that particular country. So for example, on the Berlin campus, we have a specialization on sustainability. As you may or may not know, the Germans have been very involved in sustainability for a long time, so they have a lot of expertise that has been built up in that area. In the London campus, we offer a specialization in banking and finance, London, of course, being one of the banking centers of the world, etc. Jory, would you like to tell us about the specialization that you took?
Yeah, so my background is in HR, and this year they didn't have a HR one in English. And so I did one that was kind of very basic management and focusing on the soft skills. It's called Managing Oneself and Others, and it's a brand new specialization. When I joined ESCP, we only had to do one specialization. And so I did this one, and I really enjoyed it. All of my classes really focused on kind of self-assessment and how to grow yourself as a person, and then how to learn from that and become a better manager. So it was very interesting for me. Some of my friends did more of the concrete, more finance stuff, and each campus has different specializations. Sometimes they're in different languages. For example, some of my friends did the finance specialization, but they wanted to improve their French, so they did the French version of it. So you really have a lot of different options.
Great. And do you remember how many classes made up the specialization? It was a full semester, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have time for?
Yes, so it was the changing manager, decision making in life and work, personal brand management, true leadership, and reflexive manager. So 5 classes, I think.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, professional experience is an important part of the Master in Management experience, which is a good thing because if you're studying business, you probably want to get a job. And we will be providing you with a minimum of 9 months of professional experience so that you're going to be ready to jump into the job market upon graduation. You can get credit for up to 16 weeks of previous job experience if you have it. And the internships that you carry out during the program are usually taken during a gap semester or a gap year. You do have a period of 4 months between the end of the spring semester and the beginning of this fall semester to take internships, but students often take them during gap semesters or gap years as well. You can actually take up to 2 total gap years during the Master in Management. But these internships and the gap semesters and gap years give you the opportunity to explore different disciplines and different business sectors, different industry sectors. So for example, if you're thinking maybe you'd like to pursue a career in marketing, you could, in your first internship, take an internship in marketing in a company, and after having explored that, then you can take a specialization in marketing, or even better, the other way around, take a specialization in marketing and then take an internship, and then you can decide whether or not that's something you do want to pursue. But maybe at the same time, you're not sure, you may also want to go into sustainability, and then you can do something similar, take the sustainability specialization, and then take an internship in sustainability. In any case, all of these things that we're doing, the courses and the internships, we're basically helping you to build your career plan. That's the idea behind this, the 2-year program. We do offer quite a bit of support in terms of career service. We receive 12,000 internship offers per year, believe it or not, at ESCP. So there is a lot of things out there for you to choose from. We offer, the career service offers boot camps, careers fairs, and company presentations. And they also offer CV and LinkedIn profile development, as well as mock interviews. Jory, would you like to tell us about your experience with the career service, please?
Yes, so I have been to 2 different career fairs. I went to the Turin one, which was in person, and then I went to the Paris one, which was online. The Paris one was interesting because you could actually go and apply for specific jobs, whereas the Turin one, you kind of just went and talked with recruiters. I really liked the Paris one because I actually got into the recruitment process and have an interview, and then it just continued that way instead of just networking. So that was really nice. I utilized the career office in Paris quite a bit. I've heard the London one is really good if you're trying to find some internships in the UK as well. But I used the Paris one. I got my CV checked twice. Both of them, they gave me such great advice. One of them, I was kind of just asking kind of what I should do with my career plans, and one of them was actually going through my CV and telling me what I can change. And I recommended to all of my friends, go and get it checked because it really made a world of a difference. I was also going to say that I went to a lot of the company presentations. And like, for example, in July, I'm going to be starting an internship with L'Oreal. And I think I got that internship because I went to every webinar at L'Oreal. I went and asked questions at all of their webinars, and it got to the point where they started to see my name over and over and over. Also, at the end of the company presentations, at the end of the webinar, they will give you a certain email or a certain link where you can go and directly send your CV to them. So definitely try and utilize those company presentations. I think they make a huge difference.
Great. So now we have to get to the unpleasant information, the hard facts. And that is that, yes, there are tuition fees when you come to ESCP Business School. Per year, they are currently set at 18,250 euros for EU citizens and 21,850 euros for non-EU citizens. The good news is that we offer scholarships. We offer 2 different types of scholarships. For non-EU citizens, we offer merit-based scholarships, and they can run anywhere from 25 to 100% of the first year's tuition fees. For EU citizens, we offer need-based scholarships, which can be anywhere from 10 to 80% of the first year tuition fees. You don't need to apply for the merit scholarship. We will offer it upon admission. And however, for the need-based scholarships, there is an application which you will receive after admission. I like to tell students that there are scholarship monies out there that don't get spent every year, so please go and look for scholarship through all the scholarship sources you can find. It's always good to look in your home country for scholarship monies, as well as the countries that you're going to study in. So you have lots of choices with us. You can look in at Campus France, at Education UK, at squeaker.net, which is Spanish. No, that's German, I lied. Gov.uk, AECID, which is Spanish, DEAD, German. All those different sources could have something for you. Of course, they're based on, these scholarship sources are based on not only country where you're from, country you're studying, but also the type of program, the type of studies, the level of studies, etc. But it certainly is worth taking a look. As far as admissions are concerned, we have several different paths, and the path that you're going to to take depends on when you want to start your studies and where your previous, where you carried out your previous studies. So if you want to study with the pre-master year, then you would take what we call the pre-master admission test, which actually isn't a test, it's an admissions path. And it's takes place on the Turin campus. Well, normally, in normal days, the testing and the interviews take place on the Turin campus. Now everything is online, and it will be until the end of this admission cycle. All of our admissions requirements are similar, if not exact, and they all require an English test, which would be the IELTS, the TOEFL, the TOEIC, or the Cambridge, unless you have studied in English in an English-speaking country, and in which case you are exempt from the English test. We require your university transcripts, your diploma or a certificate of enrollment, your high school diploma, and a CV. Once we take a look at all that, we will invite you or not to the campus or online to take, in this particular case, in the case of the pre-master, to take the online aptitude test, which is the SHL, and then take a motivational interview. Normally, in the other admissions paths, you'll see we offer the SHL only on an exceptional basis. We require the GMAT, the GRE, the other standard exams. Yeah, for the other admissions paths. Applications for this admissions path close on 11 May. So you still have a little bit of time if you want to apply for the pre-master year. If you want to apply for the master year, for students who have previous studies outside of France, so a bachelor degree or master degree delivered outside of France, you have two choices. There's international direct admissions, which is where you apply directly and exclusively to ESCP. And there's Join a School in France, or SAI, where you apply to a consortium of 5 different business schools. You can't do both, you have to choose one or the other, but they're virtually the same. So you need the GMAT, the GRE, the CAT, the TAJMAJ, or the ESCP test, or the SHL. For the international direct admissions, for Join a School in France, it's all of the above except for the ESCP test. For both, you need the English exam. For both, you need university transcripts. You need the diploma. For the international direct admissions, we do not require a reference, but you may provide one if you so desire. We do require a personal statement, however, and a CV. For Join a School in France, we require 2 academic references and a CV. So after checking your profile, we will invite you, hopefully, to an interview, and that will be either in person. Well, normally it's either in person or by Skype. Actually, we don't use Skype anymore, but that's what we called it at the time when we made this brochure. But online, basically, we interview all of our students in a second round to make sure that we can help you meet your objectives and you will meet the objectives of what we are looking for in our students. Applications for the international direct admissions close on 11 May this year. For SAI, they close on 20 April. So SAI, or sorry, Join a School in France, coming up pretty soon. For the international direct admissions, you have a bit of time left. There's a little asterisk. We do ask that you provide the GMAT, the GRE, the CAT, or the TAJMAJ, but if you can't, or you really prefer, you can provide or you can take our own ESCP test, or the SHL. And if you've taken a look at our application, you will see that it's just, you need to indicate on the application that you're requesting to take that test, so you don't have to upload the score of the test that you've taken already. For students who have previous studies in France who want to join the master cycle, it's a different admissions path. This one is actually closed for the intake of September 2021. It's called the Concours d'Admission Directe. The requirements are the same, except that we have minimum scores on the English exam. We don't have minimum scores on anything in any of the admissions paths, so no minimum score of the GMAT, and we probably have already gotten the question 3 times in the question box, but that's okay. Everybody always asks that question. We do not have minimum scores for GMAT or GRE or TAJMAJ or SHL for that matter, ASCP test. What we're looking at is the whole application. So it's not one specific element that is going to knock you out of the running. Actually, I lied. If you have really low grades, then forget it, don't bother, basically. I mean, if you have, if you're just barely passing, then don't bother applying to ESCP. Other than that, we're looking at the whole, we're really looking at the whole application. Actually, to talk about the blog again, another one of our student ambassadors, Catarina Machado, from Portugal, she just wrote an article on a GMAT success story where she only had 3 weeks to prepare, and she made it anyway. It is possible. Right. So what we've talked about, hopefully you have heard these 3 main things. That in ESCP Business School, we are teaching you to think critically about business management and ethical issues with a socially responsible approach. That we help you build and enhance your career plans through specialized course options and in-company work experience. And that we're strengthening your ability to live and work in a highly multicultural and international environment. And along the way, hopefully you'll be creating a network of friends for life like Jory has. So thank you so much for listening to the presentation portion of the session today. Now we will go ahead and answer the questions that Jory hasn't had an opportunity to answer yet. Let me just get that set up on my screen so I can read the questions more easily. 1 second. Honey, there we go. Okay, so first question that I see, no, never mind, she left.
We have some questions about the application process. For example, this Valentin said he's a French citizen who did his undergrad in Boston. Should he apply through the international student application?
Yeah, because it's based on where you did your bachelor degree.
Okay.
So since he studied in the US, he would have the option of taking either the international direct admissions or the join a school in France. It doesn't matter where you're a citizen of.
There was someone else who had a similar question. They said something about they're technically studying at a French school, but with the Singapore campus.
Okay, then that is it's where the degree is actually delivered, and assuming that person is talking about ESSEC, because ESSEC is a French school but it has a Singapore campus. I would assume that it's actually ESSEC in France that is delivering the degree, in which case they would be applying as through the French path. Gets a bit technical, but that I'm not sure about. I would assume that's true for ESSEC, but probably is worth asking the question in any case at the school. Okay, I see one here from Kriti who is asking, is GRE considered, and if yes, what is the minimum required score? Okay, you didn't answer that probably because I said it at the same time, but yes, we do take a GRE and we do not have a minimum required score. I actually can share with you, we have average scores of admitted students, and for the GRE that is 320. For the GMAT, it's 690, and for the TAJMAJ, it's 400, just to give you an indicator. But again, we don't have minimum scores. In the case of the woman who wrote the blog article, she and the GMAT, even though their average scores for for admitted students is 690. She got a 630 on the GMAT, but she got in because she had excellent academics and she had an excellent interview. So that's why we don't have minimums.
I think it was the same with me. I think my test scores weren't, maybe they were bottom average, something like that. But I think my academic references were really nice. I think my interview went really well. And so don't worry too much about that, basically.
Yeah, it's only 10% of the overall grade on the application. So it's really not that much.
Do you
Okay.
have somewhere, do you have a brochure or somewhere on the website that has the different specializations that we offered this year and the list of the different exchange programs? I had a few questions on that.
Yes, I can show you. Actually, on the website, it is, I'm still sharing my screen, I believe. It's in the curriculum. So this is our website, right? Master in Management ESCPU, ESCP. If you go to the curriculum tab, you scroll down and you see there's a section for specializations. You click on the arrow and there's the full list of the specializations. If you want to know more about them, you can see some of them have videos presenting the specialization. And if you want to know even more, you can check the syllabi, the syllabus of the specialization that you're interested in. So that is definitely available. As far as exchange partners are concerned, yes, as well. A little bit trickier to find. There are different paths, but for me, the easiest way is to go to, where am I? Partners. This is, I'm in the school and campuses tab on the website, partners. And there we have a list of all of the partners of the school by area of the world. So even just in Europe alone, you can see how many we have. So yes, sometimes you have to dig, but the information is on the website.
Can you talk a bit about the scores for the IELTS?
Yeah, the average score is 6.5.
Okay. And it's just the reading and which sections of the test? I know nothing about IELTS, so.
I don't either. This is somebody else's question, I assume?
Yes.
So it's not just, you know, for your personal edification. Okay, so if you go in, you can see my screen, I hope. You go in the admissions tab and you go to your case. So I'm going to say that I'm that French guy who studied in the US. So I'm previous studies outside of France. That French guy, sorry. Valentin, I think his name was. International, I'm going to say I want to do the international direct admissions because it's directly and exclusively the ESCP, but it's absolutely up to you, and we don't have a preference as to which one. You don't have an advantage if you choose one of the over the other, so don't worry about that. And then you see there's international direct admissions guidelines here. We have that for all of our programs, so you can see the detail of what we are looking for, of what is in the requirements. And here we have where do we have? Compulsory documents. Actually, this is not at all. You were asking for the parts of the test. Oh yeah, I thought maybe we'd have the parts of the test. Speaking of the blip. No, it doesn't say it on here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, a nice try. I'm not sure which parts of the test you have to take after I did all of that. So yeah, that'll be an email to the international admissions team, which is internationaladmissions@escp.eu. I can paste that into the chat box so that you can see that. Okay, let me go back. I think, wait, hold on a sec. I saw a question that was skipped.
Yeah, there's quite a few that were skipped.
That was the one that you just, okay. Okay, Kriti asked, what is the acceptance rate if I apply in the 4th round? We don't communicate acceptance rates per round. Generally speaking, it's better to apply early because the longer we go in the process, the more students there are applying. There are a lot of people who wait for a long time. So we end up not being able to admit as many people in the last rounds as in the first. So it's always better to apply early. Generally speaking, the admittance rate is 40%. So 40% of the people who apply and submit all of the documents are actually admitted. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. But yeah, it's better to apply in the earlier rounds. I don't have the actual stat for the 4th round. Okay, yeah, sorry, Jory, you had another question.
Some
I see.
people were talking about the apprenticeships tracks.
Okay, before I get to that one, it's complicated. Let me answer this one, which is, he asked it at 1359, and that is, are all campuses open now? Are our classes still being conducted remotely? Well, they were open for a while. And
Paris is open right now.
That's true. Paris is open right now.
Madrid is open.
Okay, go ahead.
I just know Paris and Madrid are open. Those are the only ones.
Berlin is closed, I believe. Actually, I'm not sure if they're all open now. Berlin was closed until March 31st. I'm not sure if they opened or not. We recently, the European countries, at least France, Italy, and Germany, have put into place newer restrictions because we're in wave 3. The UK, no. So I think our London campus is probably open. And Spain, well, as you said, Madrid campus is open. Spain has done very well in terms of managing the pandemic after the initial wave. So they're open as well. So not all of us are open, but some are. Some are at somewhat limited capacity. Paris is actually open, but not all classes are being offered in person. Some are being offered only online, and some are being offered, you can do either, online or in person. Okay, this is a good question for you, Troy. What kind of support does ESCP offer to international students in terms of securing a job in Paris, France, Europe, post-graduation? You talked about support that you got from Turin.
Yes, and I was also going to talk a little bit about the French legal requirements. So yeah, Turin helped me quite a bit with getting my documents in order once I was there. Madrid helped me getting everything done as well. It can be, for a non-EU person, it can be a bit complicated to switch from campus to campus, especially if you want to work there. But yeah, ESCB has been a huge help, and the career office really helps you to structure your CV so that you can probably get a job afterwards. I wanted to talk a little bit about requirements because in certain countries, if you graduate with a degree from there and you're non-EU, then you can apply for a job-seeking visa. For example, in Spain, it's a year. In France, it's a year. But if you're from India, the one for France is 2 years long. And you are also eligible once you have your French degree for the Passeport Talent, which is a special visa you can apply for. You have to have a minimum salary of, I think, like 32,000 euros, but you're eligible for it because you graduate from ESCP, because you graduate with a higher education degree. This is some of the stuff that I've just kind of learned on the way. So either I'm hoping a company will sponsor my visa, or I can get a job contract and then apply for the Passeport Talent as well. So I saw that question in there as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
So yes, we do give support. The career service team is out there to give support. We also have the student affairs team, which is really good with visas. So everything
Yeah.
you need to
I actually, just a few weeks ago, I had a girl who I had contacted last year who just emailed me in, checking in. How are you? Have you found an internship? Can I help? So that was really amazing to
know.
just see that on my phone.
Okay, and then Noemi was asking, can you tell us more about the ESCP and Sotheby's Institute of Art dual degree? Noemi is well informed. We do, I mentioned just a dual degree in art management. It is with the Sotheby's Institute in New York. And that is all I can tell you.
It's fairly new, I think.
It's very new. I say that's not fair. It is very new. What I can tell you is that you would complete your first year at ESCP Business School. So you do the management core courses in the first semester, and then you would take a specialization in the second semester, and then you would go to Sotheby's to take the art management degree. I don't know the content of that degree, to be honest. If you want to know more about the art management degree at Sotheby's, I would just go to their website. It's the master's degree in art management. I hope that answers the basic questions that you have, Noemi, about it. Pierrick is asking, okay, he's a student at the French Grande École ENS Paris-Saclay. Okay, Pierre has a super specific question about creating a partnership between ENS Paris-Saclay and ESCP. Pierrick, if you don't mind, I'm going to answer that offline, okay? I see that you're still in the session, and I hope you aren't waiting for an answer to this question, but I think it's better if I answer you offline on that one, okay? But thank you. I'm sure we'd be very interested in talking to you about ENS Paris-Saclay. Is an excellent institution. And we do have, just for background information, we do have double degree programs with engineering schools in France. ENS is not necessarily an engineering school, but it's an excellent grande école in France. Okay, Vincenzo. Okay, he asked the listening. Okay, don't know the answer to the question, Vincenzo. Sorry, never mind.
Here's a four-part question from David or David. One, we already answered the first part, the minimum score. Okay, two, is there an age limit, and does a 26-year-old candidate have the same chances as a 22-year-old candidate?
Yes, we recommend that people are under 30 when they apply, but we can't discriminate based on age. So no, there's no preference for one or the other.
Yeah. He asks, is it penalizing to have 3 years of professional experience?
Is it preferable?
Is it penalizing, actually?
No, absolutely not. We have people who have 3 years of professional experience who join the program. The only thing that I would suggest is maybe if you have that much professional experience, you should take a look at an MBA as well. It's another option for you in any case, because MBAs are generally require at least 3 years of professional experience, and it may be a better program for you. It just depends on what you're looking for.
And then the interviews, are they done all in English, or can some be done in French?
Some can be done in French, but we will do part of it at least in English, because people have to be fluent when they join the program.
He says, in the second year, can we do a double degree with a Master's of Science from ESCP?
Okay, I think I know where that question is coming from. There often is confusion between the specializations in the Master in Management and the Masters of Science at ESCP. They're two completely different programs. A Master's of Science is a standalone program. We have, I don't know, we keep adding. We have something like 28 of them total. Masters of Science as well as Master Spécialisé in France. And those are completely different than the specializations in the Master in Management. If you're in the Master in Management, you have to go all the way to the end. So you have to do the 2 years of the master cycle in order to get the degree. If you stop after 1 year, you don't have any degree. So that's not going to allow you to do any further studies with just that 1 year of studies. I'm checking as you're going through as well.
I can give a little bit of advice on the interview that I had to do, which one I did the interview for join a school in France, and so it may be a little bit different than the direct admission. But I answered someone's question and I said, make sure to brush up on current events because that's one of the requirements. That's something that they always ask for. So me, I'm not super into current events and with politics, and so I was a little bit worried about it. But they also, and I've heard they've done this with other people, is that they ask you about these current events, but then they dive deeper and deeper and deeper so that you may be able to answer the first question, the first 5 questions, but they dive so deep that you're going to reach a point where you don't know what the answer is. The important thing here is just not to panic and just to, you can admit that you're wrong. You just, I mean, don't start crying or something. They just want to see how you will react under pressure. So for me, they asked me my thoughts on Brexit. They asked me my thoughts on the gun laws in Texas because I'm from Texas. And they asked me because at the time Trump had just been elected and Macron had been elected not that long ago. So they asked if I thought if Russia had interfered in the election. And whenever I would say something, they would say, no, that's wrong. Which can be really scary in an interview, but the important thing is just to say, oh, okay, and just keep your cool and everything will be fine.
So. Yikes, you had an incredible jury, man.
Yeah, I've heard it's a very common thing that they do actually, but that was also a panel interview. So I had 5 different people asking me these questions and I was, So.
Yeah. We try, I mean, that happens sometimes. You went through the join a school in France, right? The join a school in France. It's
Yes.
a little bit of a different approach than with the international direct admissions or with the pre-master admissions test. That's more of a classic French approach with the join a school in France jury, where, yeah, they try and put people on the spot a little bit. It's not supposed to be so much that we get you to break down. I mean, certainly that's not the objective, but they like to, as you said, they like to dig deeper and deeper and deeper just to see how you're going to react, basically. Not necessarily, we don't expect you to know the intricacies of the whatever Navalny situation in Russia right now, or whatever, current affairs thing that you bring up. But that's a cultural thing. So that's what you get for doing the join a school in France. Typically, we try not to be, the ESCP approach is we want to put people at ease because we want to get to know them. And we want to, if they're comfortable, then they're going to be able to share their thoughts more easily and show us who they are much more easily. But you got a jury who was, it sounds like they're almost one-upping each other. They asked you about gun control in Texas. That's not politicized at all.
No, exactly. They just wanted to see how I would react, and the fact that it was kind of a taboo question.
Yeah.
Was kind of, their objective, I think. But I think the other questions we're still having are the apprenticeship tracks still. It's just very, very complicated. So
No, it's not. It's just okay, so we offer an apprenticeship track. I don't talk about it during the presentation because it's only offered to students who have an EU nationality. So it's restrictive. 33% of the people, no, 40% of the people, excuse me, no, 43% of the people at the session today would not have been eligible. So I don't talk about it for that reason. But if you do have an EU nationality, then you can apply for the apprenticeship track. It's interesting for many reasons. Because firstly, it's a totally intense experience. You're studying and working at the same time. So you're applying directly what you're learning in your job right away. Also, you are earning a salary from the company that you're working for. It's not a huge salary, but it's not like the same salary that you were going to get when you graduate, but you're earning a salary, and the company's paying for your tuition. So from a financial standpoint, it's certainly very advantageous. But it's super intensive. It's a great experience, but it's hard work because you have the same class load as a regular student and you're working on top of it.
Can you do a dual degree doing the apprenticeship? That's one of the questions.
No, you cannot. Yeah, it's a bit restrictive in that way because there are a lot of rules. You cannot do the dual degree typically when you, let's see, is there any way you could do the dual degree? Yes, I think there is. You could take a dual degree with one of our campuses. There is a possibility. Okay, so there are lots of options for the apprenticeship. It can be the full 2 years. It can be a year and a half, or it can be a year long, depending on what your previous studies are and depending on when you want to start. If it's only a year, you need to have studied at least one semester of your first year. I'm sorry, it's always the second year if it's only a year. So you need to have studied at least one semester of your first year outside of the Paris campus, because apprenticeships the studies are on the Paris campus. It's basically a scheme that's funded by the French government. So if you take your second semester in another campus, if you tell us that you want that dual degree before you go, then you could get a dual degree from one of our other campus countries. So that is possible.
So you need to be fluent in French.
Sorry?
You need to be fluent in French for the apprenticeship.
Yes, as well.
Okay.
Ferdinand is asking about more information about the double degree with ESM Saint-Cyr. And Ferdinand, my answer is that you would take your first year at ESCP Business School and the Master in Management program, so you do the core courses and one specialization, and then you would go to Saint-Cyr and take their program. I can't tell you much more about it than that, except that it's highly regarded, and if you're asking about it, I assume you know what Saint-Cyr studies, and that's to be in the military. But in order to find out more about that particular program, you need to look at their website. Okay. Let's see what else. Is there anything else we've missed, Jory?
I'm looking and don't think so.
Shruti asked, you sort of talked about this, we sort of talked about it, but maybe you have some more information. What do job opportunities for MIM grads in Europe look like during the pandemic? You have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I have some friends who, like right now, my friends are graduating, and so we're just finding internships right now. But I think most of them already have internships with Amazon, with Cartier, with Generali Italia. And some of my friends who graduated in December, right now they're still doing internships. So one of my friends is with Tesla. Another friend is with McKinsey in Milan. And so I think it might have been a little bit more difficult to find something at first, but I think at this moment things are picking up, jobs are opening up, and yeah, I think the one problem I've had is that I wanted to do a graduate program, and a lot of graduate programs aren't running this year. So I've decided to do some internships to work, and then maybe next year some of the graduate programs will be opening back up.
Okay. Yeah, usually we actually have a special careers fair for graduate programs, where companies come in and talk specifically about what they offer in terms of graduate programs. So we didn't run it this year because of that reason.
Mm-hmm. Someone
Okay.
said there's nothing on the website of Saint-Cyr and nothing on our website either.
There should be somewhere.
That's
If
one
it's
of our
not,
double degrees?
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, then I'll have to double check. That's my bad. I have to get it added. I will do that. Suleiman is asking, can I study in one city 2 semesters in a row? Jory did.
Yes. Yep. Paris. Yep. Fall
Yeah,
and spring.
that's pretty common. That's pretty common.
Yeah. I think it's more common for people to actually spend 1 year on a campus and then 1 year on another. I think it's less common to switch like I did and do one semester, one semester, one semester.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it makes more sense, especially if you want to learn the language. 6 months, or actually our semesters are only 4 months, so that's really not sufficient to learn language, is it? If you really want to learn it and get fluent, then it's a minimum of a year, I would say, in one location. Field is asking, how does the ESCP test work? What are the sessions, the fees? So the ESCP test is, is a logic test. It's similar to GMAT and some of the other tests that are out there. And it is something that you request, as I said, on the application. If you make it to the second round, you will be invited to come and sit the test. And there are no fees involved, except for the application fee that you pay when you apply to the school. And the sessions take place at the same time as what we call the interviews, the interview dates. So the dates are listed on the website for the different admission sessions. You can get practice tests, like with any practice test, by looking up SHL on Google, and you can find practice tests. Federica is asking, when does the 9-month internship need to be done?
By October following your M2. If it's not done, then you have to postpone your graduation, like I did.
That's okay. You're not the only one. No, and
yeah,
also people who take a gap semester, they're also kind of a semester off as well. Yeah, you have until October of your second year or after your M2 to finish your 9 months of internships. It's not necessarily one 9-month internship, although you could do it all in one go if you'd like.
I found a PDF on the Saint-Cyr. So actually, like for the zones, if you want to, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I can send you the PDF that has all of the information on that.
Cool.
It's just on Jory Sutton. Super easy to find.
Where did you find it? On the intranet?
Yeah, on my school.
Ah, thank you. Okay, we have somebody asking saying, I want to apply for a double degree from a partner school, and I want to know more about the requirements. Who do you recommend I contact? Well, I can give you some initial information in order to apply for a double degree with a partner school. First, you actually apply to us. Each school has their own requirements, and we have you fill out an application for that we will evaluate to see whether we want to present your application to the partner school. So basically, you have to have good grades at ESCP, otherwise we're not going to recommend you to the partner school. And then after that, it depends on the partner school. Some of them require a GMAT. Some of them require an English language exam. Some of them require extra fees. So some of our double degree programs are free, so to speak, i.e. the fees that you pay at ESCP cover the fees of the partner school as well. But some of them require additional fees. And you won't have access to all of that information until you're actually enrolled, when we give you the detail of all that information. So hopefully that will be enough for you to get started. We do have a list of all the double degree partners on our website, as I showed you previously.
We also, you apply for exchanges and double degrees in the spring. So you do your fall semester at ESCP, and then you're eligible to apply in the spring. And whenever you apply, they're taking all of your grades from your bachelor's, from your profile, but mostly how you've done at ESCP in your first semester. So work your first semester because they're going to rank you. And the higher of a ranking you have, the higher a chance you're going to get into a program that you want. Also, Chris said, how many international applications do you receive on average each year? I don't know. I mean, in my experience, basically, ESCP, it seems, especially on other campuses, it seems to be kind of half and half French Italian with a few other nationalities mixed in. We have quite a few Germans, we have Indians, we have Chinese. When I joined, I was the only American on all of the campuses because I think Caroline was on a gap year, but that was in 2018, and since then we've had a lot of your name sounds English or American or something. I know we had 4% of North Americans, so maybe. And but since I've joined, we've had a lot more Americans applying actually, and some Canadians. We're starting to get well known, but it was definitely an interesting experience for me in Turin because everyone I knew was either French or Italian, or at least French speaking or Italian speaking. And then there was me. But, you know, it's such a small campus that after the first week, everyone knew me as the Texas girl. So yeah, I think it actually helped me in the long run. So, and now all of my friends are from all over Europe. How many Scandinavians? I've met some on exchange, but I don't think I've met quite a few girls from Finland this semester. Some from Norway, but especially on the Paris campus, it tends to be a little more international because a lot of exchange students come or double degree students come to the Paris campus. Jeanne, do you want to add anything on
that? No, you did a great job.
Okay.
Shoot, I had some questions and I lost them. I just want to make sure that we cover all of them. Okay, Alexia is asking a trick question. Can EU citizens that studied outside the EU be eligible for merit-based scholarships? Theoretically, no. If you're from the EU, then you're only eligible for the financial need scholarship. Yeah. Let's see. Mega, maybe this is what you referred to, Joy, earlier. Mega is saying, I graduated in 2018 and want to apply for MIM 2022. I would have 4 years of work experience by then. Am I eligible? Yes, absolutely, you're eligible, just like the person who has 3 years. But I would, if I were you, I would also look at applying to an MBA program because they require 3 years of professional experience. The main reason I think that's interesting for you is because a lot of what you learn is from other people in the classroom, and if you're not going to learn as much from people who only have a couple of internships as from students who have, or from your classmates who have 3 to 10 years of professional experience. So for that reason, it might be interesting for you to look at an MBA. Do you know anyone who might fall into that situation, Jory? I see you smiling. There's something going on there.
Oh, because someone asked a question that I'm like,
Okay.
Yeah, I think I know quite a few. And some people it was a exchange, actually, or double degree that they came into ESCP, and at their school they were doing an MBA, but here they just moved over to the MIM program. So I think most of my friends actually are doing double degrees with Politecnico in Torino,
Okay.
or with one of the engineering schools in Paris. But yeah, a few other people, and then the rest of them, they did the pre-master year in Turin. So they actually just went straight into ESCP from their bachelor's.
Okay.
So it's not, I wouldn't say it's not uncommon, but the majority of people just come and do ESCP right after their studies, honestly. The question I was laughing at was, can we apply under multiple nationalities in order to get multiple scholarships?
Nice try.
Nice try.
No.
You'd have to do like 2 applications or something though, and pretend to be 2 different people, I think.
Yeah, you can't. You can only apply once per year, so
Yeah.
already that is not gonna, unless you have, in addition to your different nationalities, you have different names. It would be difficult to.
Yeah. Because of COVID, can we defer applications?
We deferred a lot of applications last year. We're trying to avoid that this year, to be perfectly honest. If you have a really, really good reason, it's possible. But the word on the street is that we're trying to avoid as many deferrals this year. Theoretically, it's not going to be a problem as of the fall. I hate projecting the future. I'm so tired of this, as I'm sure everybody is. Yeah, so that's a really soft answer. I think you're probably not going to get a hard answer from anybody on that one. We do, yes, as a policy, accept deferrals. My understanding is that we're trying to avoid that this year. But if you have already applied, definitely ask the question of the international admissions team. If you're thinking about applying, then ask whomever you would like in the student advisors. They're also available on our website. You can see in the upper right hand corner, there's a contact button. You have all of the student. I don't know how to get my screen back.
And you could have the link to the blog as well.
All right, they're also the student ambassadors. Hello, right to them. Yeah, so on my screen, I got it back. On the contact button here, you have all of the different admissions advisors at ESCP. You can choose whomever you like. We're actually going to end up assigning you somebody based on your country of residence. But it's difficult for you to know who that person is unless you have our list of admissions teams. Well, you can find out, but it's complicated. So just write to whomever you'd like in that list. They will answer your question and or forward it on to the person who's appropriate, okay, as far as the deferral question is concerned. Sorry, I'm starting to get incoherent. I'll try my best to focus here.
Can we get your email if we have more specific questions?
You can contact Jory on LinkedIn. You have my email, but I can give it to you. Now I have to get my chat box back. Sorry, hold on. My email, you have it on the emails that you've received for the registration of the session, but it's jweckler@escp.eu that I just put in the chat box. And Jory, just in case you didn't see it at the beginning, that's how you spell her name. There was a question I saw that we hadn't answered yet. David was asking if there's an address where we can send our CV to find out if we have any chances of being admitted. Absolutely. Same thing, you can write to any of those people that you would like to. They will either answer or forward it to the appropriate person. And they will be happy to give you an initial feedback. Okay, I think we're getting close. Okay, that's all the questions that I have seen so far. If you don't have any further questions, and usually that will trigger one or two, but if you don't, I thank you very much for being with us today, for hanging out until the end. There are 36 of you who have stayed with us all the way to the end, so thank you very much. Thank you so much, Jory, for all of your help and your valuable input. I really appreciate it. And we will be sending, again, we'll be sending you the recording of the session so that you can listen to us again of all the interesting things that we shared with you today. Good luck. Hopefully we'll see you on campus or online at some point, and take care. Thanks again. Bye.